So, I kind of want to do a less intensive video today. I don't really feel like doing an in-depth video. This is kind of a response video to an announcement and push made recently. This was kind of mentioned before. The idea of Ladybug creating the next Marvel Multiverse experience. The good, the bad, and the mid. Not gonna lie, probably a lot of mid. So another show is doing a Marvel experience. At least they aren't starting with a movie, only for it to fail and stop the whole experience. After Earth and Tenets being examples here. Shout out nepotism. I just feel like the whole Marvel experience is not going to be repeated. This is a television show, however, instead of a movie. A television show probably going for 12 seasons. So let's go into the bad that can come from this. You know, since hate sells. This is probably my main problem. It's how the company that makes Ladybug Miraculous Corp is set up. The company that makes Ladybug is partially owned by Toei Animation. Toei Animation being an anime studio. Company name being Miraculous Corp, which is a self-venture from Thomas and Germany ZAG, meaning all the money for projects they had to generate themselves. This is different compared to getting backing from a company such as Disney or Cartoon Network. Last year it was reported that Miraculous Corp had downsized. That is one of the reasons that they have changed the animation in their show for season 6. They are not using 4 countries to do animation anymore. Like they were using the fact that this is partially an anime company and the downsizing has me worried about this. I'm afraid that they won't have enough to cover all the bases and be forced to do one of 2 things. 1, overwork the workers to get it done. This is an anime studio, so it's not surprising. The second option being to sacrifice and instead of a good show, produce a bunch of below average shows, neither being a good thing. For an example of this example, look at what MAPPA, another anime studio, did when they had to produce JJK and Attack on Titan in the same season. One had more effort than another. Going into the second factor, people have habits whether they know it or not. This is the same with writing. No offense to Thomas. He might be a nice guy, just not when talking to fans, I guess. If certain patterns exist in one writing, it's probably going to exist in another show. Look at the writer for Euphoria. Sam Levinson, for example. Thomas has his own certain problems, neglecting characters. Cough, Adrian or Lila for season 4. Like the fans kinda already hate Marinette. Could you imagine this being in other shows and possibly magnified? If it is the people behind the world specials, then we are in good hands. This is something also a lot of people forget when taking the Disney approach. It is hard to write multiple characters that are interesting and people care about. There's a reason they had to revive Tony Stark in Marvel. But there are also possible good things to mention. One is I believe that the writers could learn from their past mistakes from the show and actually create a better show now, as long as not Thomas. Another big positive is they could have new topics that can't possibly be addressed in the Ladybug show. Like Marinette, to be honest, outside of bullying, is pretty average. 2 parents, friends, living in one of the best cities in the world, and literally dating a Hall of Fame boyfriend. I'm not talking about Adrian here. This allows for new different storylines. Like, I don't know a healthy relationship with their sidekick or a main character without a beautiful mind in their room. Okay, let me be honest here. But more serious topics like divorce or the damage that comes from being a superhero when you don't have a miraculous that resets everything. You could maybe have an older main character this time. They could go through situations Marinette couldn't go through. For example, balancing a job and being a hero, or possibly a family while being a superhero. Maybe this time other shows are higher up in the rating, such as PG-13 or R-rated. Could you imagine an R-rated Senti monster storyline, or an adult look into the depression Adrian is gonna feel about his dad being dead? This wouldn't be the first time a show has done this before. Samurai Jack is a perfect example of this. PG the first couple of seasons, but PG-13 their last season. This is also good because, let's be honest here, animation is not exactly in the best of hands right now. Companies want to make a safe bet. With the expansion of Ladybug, you can show that animation is not dying, and it still matters to people. More Ladybug shows also mean more jobs for animators, which if you got animator friends, they will tell you that is very important. All in all, I'm kinda indifferent to this whole Ladybug multi-universe. Don't get me wrong, I am excited about the idea of it. It's just as a Ladybug fan, it's best to set your standard as low as possible. That way when something good happens, you remember it. When it's bad, you won't be surprised. Looking at you Shadybug Special, I'm kinda thinking they might suck at it. Just look at how they handled the reintroduction of the Lady Dragon and New York heroes in the Season 5 finale. Like, Season 5 had a post-credit scene in each episode, and you couldn't at least throw in a scene or two. If this is Jeremy's egg, then this will be in good hands. To be honest, who thought Ladybug would still be on after 10 years? To be honest, in my opinion, as long as they don't make too many unnoticeable Ladybug characters and make average shows with good animation, then they will be fine. We are Ladybug fans. Our standards are as high as Gary Coleman at this point. So in this video, I talked about the future of Ladybug. If you want to hear me talk about possible future Ladybug events, click on these videos.